Hey everyone, Solomon here. Might know me from keypicking.com or DBC Locksmiths. Thought I would do a video on some tips and tricks that I use for disc detainer locks, because apparently I'm quite good at them. So yeah, first things first, before you watch any further, if you're not familiar with how the locks actually work, or the mechanism, you probably want to familiarise yourself a wee bit. Basically in these you've got a series of rotating discs. Each one has a gate cut out. It's similar to a combination lock, and those gates need to be aligned for a sidebar to drop in, and then that's what actually allows the cam to turn. But there's very good animation on how these work. Probably going to be in the related videos on the right hand side, so if you have a wee look over there. If you can't find it, just search for disc detainer animation on YouTube. I'll see if I can get a link for you. I'll maybe put it in the description as well. Anyway, I've seen a lot of videos of people picking these. Generally, they take forever. No offense to anybody, but there's quite a lot of things that I see people doing wrong whenever they're picking these, so I thought I would address some of that stuff and give you some pointers to make life a bit easier. Okay, first of all we're going to have a look at the tools. On the right here, this is probably the most important thing. This is just a piece of metal that we use for zeroing the discs. We're going to go into why we do that in a minute. But we'll look at the main parts first. This is the more popular tool. It's designed for front tension. Basically, this is your tension part here, and that's what hooks into the front disc. You tension it, and then this is the actual pick which you use for rotating the rest of the discs into place. Similarly, this is a rear disc tool. Same idea. That's the tensioner for the back, which you tension with this here, and then that's the actual pick part which you use for setting the discs there. You don't actually need that. The only time that you will need this is if I get a lock just to demonstrate here. As you can see, the way this hooks into the front disc nice and solid. Some locks, the bigger, bulkier ones, and the weatherproof kind of coverings, you pop this in and it's just going to spin. It doesn't actually hook into the disc. The reason why they make two tools is there's supposedly two main types of lock. There's front disc tension and rear disc tension, but you can pick both with this. The only time this comes in handy, as I say, is if you can't hook in. So you can go in, this gets right to the back, and you can tension it like that. But we're going to look at how to pick both types of lock with this pick in just a minute. But we're going to go over some of the more basic stuff first. When picking a disc detainer lock, the same as any other mechanism, whether it be pin tumblers, levers, whatever, you don't want to be using too much tension. You use too much tension on this, you're going to be binding up the discs far too much, and you're going to be really straining to turn things into place. It's really not necessary. If you do that, eventually you're going to just snap the tip off your pick, and you don't want that, so don't be using too much tension. Likewise, you don't want to use too little tension, otherwise you're not really going to feel anything at all. So you want to find a nice sort of happy medium. You'll find that the same amount of tension works for pretty much all of these, so once you figure out what's comfortable for you, then you can pretty much just stick with that. But yeah, you want to have enough tension that you can feel the resistance of the discs and feel them clicking into place, but not so much that you're actually straining to do so. Another thing, I've seen a lot of videos of people picking these. No disrespect to anybody, because you are opening the locks, but you're not on a motorbike. You don't want to be holding the pick and doing this. That's not really going to get you anywhere. It's not how the pick works, so try to avoid that if you can. You should be able to just do it like this, I use a finger up against here to stabilize it, because it's very smooth, so you can move one disc at a time, nice and slowly and smoothly like this. Another thing is, I've seen people, they kind of just go and they're doing this kind of motion, which is essentially raking, but again, that's not really the best approach to be taken. First of all, the most important step before you even put your pick in there is you need to zero the discs. I actually have the discs in this one zeroed, so they're horizontal. Whenever the lock's in its normal position, they're vertical like that. The reason why we zero the discs is very simple. Whenever you put the key in, the correct key in, once the key turns 90 degrees, that is the actual point where all the gates will align with the sidebar. The sidebar is then free to drop into the channel, and then the key can turn the rest of the way, so the lock opens. That's why if you've got the wrong key, it'll only ever turn 90 degrees like that. The other reason is the amount that you need to rotate the discs, obviously, because everything sets either at 90 degrees or just a few degrees back. It just doesn't make any sense to be starting from the vertical position, because you're having to turn the discs basically almost 90 degrees, and then there isn't enough space to get through to the next disc. So if you set a disc without having zeroed it first, basically you're going through, the discs are vertical and you're turning like this much almost, then you can't get to the next disc without turning that one back a bit to actually get onto it, so you're going to be scrambling the disc after you pick it. So basically once you pick a disc, you're going to be undoing that disc to move on to the next one. So if you zero the discs first of all, that whole thing goes out the window. You don't have to worry about it. You can just rotate the disc back a little bit, go straight on to the next one and pick that, and so on until the lock opens. So now that you've got that out of the way, you understand why you need to do that. We'll look at the actual technique for picking. Okay, so you've zeroed your discs with whatever it is you happen to be using. I like to pick these from back to front. It doesn't matter, you can do them front to back as well, which is probably a bit easier, but there's a very simple trick for doing them back to front. What I'll do is I'll slide the pick down through the back, turn it 90 degrees like this. Whenever you pull this back, it's going to hit against the back disc, so just pull it against the back disc a little bit and turn it. Whenever it lines up like this, it'll pop back just a couple of mil if you're doing it gently anyway, and then that'll be you right on the back disc and you can start picking. You can do these from front to back as well, which is probably going to be easier for some people, but I like to do it this way. There is no distinct binding order in these locks. You can do them just in a straight line. So this is me on the back disc now. I want to turn back, you need to hold it steady on the disc. That's why I always have a finger here. So you hold it nice and steady, put it back 45 degrees and forwards again. That's the disc set. So move back a couple of mil very carefully and do the next one. That one's set. 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 And this is the last disc. That's that one set. So when I turn that and the lock is open, really as simple as that. Then you can lock it back up again by doing this. All the discs are still set now apart from the front one, which is the driver disc in this case. We can just turn that again to open it once more. So that's that. In the next section we're going to be looking at what a driver disc actually is, what it does, and the way that you can exploit the driver discs to pick a rear disc driven lock with this tool.